you probably don't want to get a video of that. People say, man's too lazy to tie his shoes. I mean, too lazy to untie his shoes. Great day. Can't even talk. You know, there was a time in our marriage that I didn't know if we were going to make it or not. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because there was times I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know what to say. And just don't give up. You know, if you would have told me 3 years ago that we would be where we are today, I would have probably laughed and told you didn't know what you were talking about because I felt that hopeless. Just don't give up. Just don't quit. Just don't give up. That's all I know to say. There was a time where I seriously felt it would be easier to just quit. So don't give up. Keep trying. So don't give up, but just don't quit. This is my outbuilding. I love coming out here and just kind of tinkering, piddling, whatever you want to call it. And actually today I'm coming out here to build a shelf. We've got a little TV stand for Chloe and her DVDs, you know, like little Disney DVDs to watch. And I'm going to make a little video, a little TV stand. And, last week we made a video with Rachel about going to Roanoke. We went there and saw her psychiatrist, and you know, we were talking about like different ideas for videos, and we had the idea of kind of talking about like a video on my perspective of being the caretaker, maybe I'm not sure what the word is, but you know, kind of the one there helping, you know, doing different things, and you know, this isn't a video for pity. You know, this is a video to hopefully be uplifting to somebody who was in my position, you know, with being the one taken care of. And basically, I mean, there was times, you know, and there's times in our marriage, I guess I would say, that Rachel has no memory of. There's times that I can tell her something that was said or something that we did and she doesn't remember it. So, you know, there was a time, just to kind of give an example of like the worst of times, I guess. She was seeing a doctor due to a lot of concerns that he had. I put her on a lot of medication. Basically sedations is what, you know, sedatives. She spent the majority of her time asleep. You know, there were times where I would get her out of the bed. I'd leave, go to work, come home. She would still be in the bed where I left, you know, 12 hours later. I would get her out of bed, give her something to eat, and then get her back in bed. And then there were sometimes it was to the point that I had to physically, like, put her in the shower, bathe her, have to redress her, and then put her in the bed. So, you know, there's been a lot of, as far as, you know, the mood, you know, depression, mania, hypomania, been a lot of different transitions and different emotions, different outlooks even on life. At one time, you know, and this is something that she and I have talked about a fair amount. At one time, I was the youth director of the church we go to, and there came a point in my life that I needed to be, I guess, readily available, more available to Rachel at times. So, you know, I felt it was a good time for me to step down and to allow somebody else to come into that position. You know, it worked out great. There was a young lady that goes to church with us, stepped right into that position, filled it. There was no issues. There was never a lapse in, like, you know, kids having activities and things to do, and it worked out amazingly. But then, after that, I will say, there was a time of a lot of doubt, a time of a lot of anger. I can remember, you know, I don't want to say I doubted, you know, God's existence, but I doubted kind of, I don't even know how to word it, maybe a little self-righteous, you know, kind of, you know, thoughts and statements of, you know, I've done X, Y, and Z. You know, I've been the one there every Sunday, every Wednesday, Sunday nights, during the week, I mean, just all the time. And a lot of thoughts of, you know, kind of this mentality of, well, if this is as good as it gets, I don't want it. If this is the best that I'm ever going to get from this relationship, I don't want it. And, you know, I went through a really, really hard spell. I can remember times with myself. I would sit on the couch and just start crying. And I'd go down to my mom and dad's because Rachel was asleep or something. I'd go visit them, and I would just be talking to them and start crying, and I couldn't figure out why. And it got to the point that I wound up having to go see a doctor myself. And they put me on a medication to help with my depression. It got to the point that I had isolated myself and had got to the point to where I needed help myself. And, you know, I really wish in that time that I would have sought therapy of some type. I would have seen somebody to talk to them about what I was experiencing. I feel like it could have really helped me out a lot. So, you know, if you're in that position of being the caretaker, if you're helping somebody who has a mental illness, not just bipolar disorder, any of them. You know, if you're somebody there that's providing their help and their support, you know, don't be afraid to get help for yourself. Find you a good network of people to talk to. You know, my biggest excuse that I would always say, people would say, well, where's Rachel at? And she's not feeling well. Just because I didn't want to say, well, really, 2 days ago she was thinking about ending her life, and now she's finally asleep and resting, so I didn't want to disturb her. You know, the truth is something I didn't want to tell at that time. And I wasn't ashamed to. I guess I just didn't want to embarrass her, put her in that situation. But, you know, I needed that network, and I didn't realize how bad I needed it until I got in a bad place myself. If you are that caretaker, that provider, accept help. You know, my family would offer to come sit up here with, because there was times where, like, we had to have, like, part of safety plans and stuff, we had to agree to have somebody at the home 24/7 in order for her not to have to go to the hospital. You know, if family offers you help, take it. If people offer to come even just sit and watch TV with you, tell them to come up and enjoy that time. And don't feel bad, because I always felt guilty. If I would do something and Rachel was in the bed, I always felt guilty for it. Don't give up. Don't let yourself feel guilty for taking care of you. And also remember why you're doing it. That was kind of one of the biggest things for me. I was remembering why I was doing what I was doing. There's the person that I love is sick. I made a commitment to them, and I was going to stand by that. Don't give up. Get help and accept help. That was the biggest one for me, was accepting the help. People would offer help, and I had a hard time saying no. And just don't give up. Just don't give up. At the times it feels the worst, just don't give up. That's all I know to say. There was a lot of nights that I went to bed not knowing how I was going to do tomorrow, not knowing what tomorrow was even going to be like. But, you know, I wouldn't go back and change it. It changed our relationship. It changed my view on life. It changed a lot of stuff in my life. But also I'm grateful. I'm grateful for where I have been to where I am now. Taking care of your spouse, as far as bathing them and taking care of the majority of their daily needs, to now her being a stay-at-home mom with her daughter and raising a child. It's a complete different situation. So don't give up. Keep trying. And advocate. If you think that something's not right, sometimes they're not in their best mental state. There were times I would tell Rachel, hey, this medicine's not right. Something's wrong. She would tell me I didn't know what I was talking about. She felt fine. Advocate for that person when they're at their worst, and don't take their first answer and just let it be. Don't be afraid to cause a little bit of strife if you have to get help. Don't take no for an answer. And guys, I hope this isn't a downer video. I hope it to be uplifting. You know, if you would have told me 3 years ago we would be where we are today, I would have probably laughed and told you didn't know what you were talking about, because I felt that hopeless. But looking back now, it's true. There is a better day. So don't give up. Don't quit hoping. Just continue to press forward. Remember why you first fell in love with that person. And then one of the biggest things, this was something that was the hardest for me, was sometimes not listening to what they say. There was times whenever Rachel was at her worst and symptom-wise, there was a lot of things said that were very hurtful. Things that I can remember that I have to not think about, because it really still even now bothers me. But, you know, it's kind of like when somebody's not, you know, whenever somebody's under anesthesia or something like that, you know, they're not in their right mind. A lot of times you have to take what they say kind of with a grain of salt. You know, I don't know how else to say that. It's hard in that time to do that. You know, there was a time in our marriage that I didn't know if we were going to make it or not. There was a time where I seriously felt it would be easier to just quit. But, I mean, looking back, I'm glad I didn't. But there was a time where that was my thought in that moment. So, you know, don't be too hard on yourself for thinking things that you may not approve of, because you think weird things whenever you're in that kind of situation. And until you're in that situation, you don't understand what that means. But just don't quit. Don't quit. Stay in there the best you can. Accept people's help. And reach out for help if you need it and nobody's offering. Because there was times I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't even know what to say. There was times I would just sit in the living room and stare at a blank TV screen, because I didn't even know what to do. Don't shut people off. If people offer to help, accept it, take it, thank them, and just don't quit. We appreciate you all subscribing, liking, watching our videos. And as we say, just another day, live and learning.